When a brawler has no more gadgets left to use, the gadget icon under that brawler actually disappears. This is information that can make all the difference in a match, so pay attention to who can still use their gadgets and who can't anymore. Additionally, if you've summoned a pet or a turret that's now too far away for you to see, you can actually check if it's still alive by pressing the gadget button. If your pet has been destroyed, it will indicate that you needed to activate the gadget. But if it's still alive, it will indicate that you are too far away to activate it. Obviously, this only works if the gadget has an effect on what you're checking. Tip number 3. There are certain gadgets in the game that have a limited range. And if you hold down the gadget button, it will show you the range of that gadget. If you just want to see the range without activating the gadget, simply slide your thumb off the button and then release. Tip number 4. 3-3 modes are almost always played optimally with 3 lanes, left, center, and right. In general, it's better to have 1 brawler per lane, as this makes it harder for the opponent to hit you and gives you an advantage if the enemy team groups up. Indeed, it's much easier to hit a target if 3 of them are close to each other, whereas if they're all separated and you miss, there's no chance your shot will hit another target. Now, if you're playing on the left or right lane, you can try to force the enemy to group up near the center by taking control of the edges of the map. To do this, you just need to position yourself between the enemy and the edge of the map, obviously if you're playing on the left or right lane. You need to be careful not to get trapped against the wall, but if you manage to dodge enemy shots well, you'll put pressure on the enemy to move closer to the center of the map, which forces them to group together. In the same spirit, you should always try to surround enemy brawlers, especially in 3v3 modes. To surround a brawler means that 2 teammates attack an enemy from different angles, making it impossible for them to avoid getting hit. So even if you're facing someone one-on-one, pay attention to any other opportunity where you can shoot at another enemy to help your teammates win their own duel. Now, another tip is to shoot deliberately. Well, not to miss your shots on purpose, but if you miss a shot, you can use that to put pressure on the enemy and force them to go where you want them to. Sometimes, some players can be really hard to hit if they're good at dodging your shots. So, instead of trying to predict every one of their moves with each shot, just keep aiming at the same side and it will eventually push them toward your teammates. The 8th tip is to be ready to switch lanes in the middle of a match. And if a brawler who counters yours is in your lane, it's really smart to swap places with your teammate. Keep in mind that even if you're playing well in your lane, it can still be wise to switch depending on how your teammate is performing in theirs, because they might be struggling against a counter themselves. Now, aside from heaves, brawlers obviously can't stay on water, but there are a few brawlers who can jump or roll over water. And for these brawlers, you can actually add a bit of extra distance by aiming the end of the attack toward the center of the pond. This works very well for brawlers like El Primo or Daryl, because if the attack lands close enough to the edge of the pond, the brawler will simply be forced to land outside the pond. It's not always practical, but it can be useful in certain situations. Obviously, there are many brawlers in the game whose regular attacks only fire 1 or 2 projectiles, like Belle, Jessie, or Nita. When you start facing really good players, it's extremely helpful to have memorized the damage values of attacks for this type of brawler. Whether you're using these brawlers yourself or facing them, it's very important to always know if you're at risk of being eliminated in 3 shots or not, because most brawlers can deal all their burst damage with just 3 ammo. Even if you don't want to memorize all of them, pay attention to how much damage they deal to you at the start of the match, so you can at least remember it throughout the game. Tip number 11. Always check the bushes if you don't know where the enemies were. This tip may seem obvious to many of you and I've already mentioned it, but I'm still amazed at how often players walk into bushes because they're almost certain no enemy is hiding there, only to get instantly eliminated. From my experience, bushes are only safe if you know where all 3 enemy brawlers are. Experienced players are very good at dodging attacks even while hiding in bushes, and they can really play mind games with their opponents. Now, let's move on to some tips specific to certain game modes. In Knockout, once you've eliminated an enemy, it's better to heal up and regroup rather than rushing straight at the remaining opponents. A 3 vs 2 is a huge advantage in any game mode, but in Knockout it's especially useful. If you find yourself isolated from your teammates, that advantage will be lost and it will be like a one-on-one. You also don't want to stick too close to your teammates, but you need to stay close enough so that your enemies can't take you out without facing the consequences. Still in knockout, don't be afraid to wait for the smoke to arrive to win the round. I see a lot of players getting impatient, even when the opposing team has the range advantage. If the enemy team has the advantage and greater range, just stay in cover until the smoke forces the players to get closer to each other. And even if it's boring, it's much better than losing because you weren't patient enough. Now in hot zone, playing good defense is the only way to make a comeback on maps with more than one zone. If the opposing team takes the lead from the start, it won't matter if you control one zone if you can't stop them from getting into the other zone. So you should prioritize preventing enemies from entering any of the zones they haven't captured yet, at least, until your team takes the lead. Conversely, if your team takes the lead from the start, it makes sense to play aggressively toward the zones you haven't captured yet until you're sure you can fall back to other zones that might be closer to your respawn point. Now, when you're playing on maps with a single zone, I often see players die and then rush back to the zone one after another, only to end up in a 3 against 1 situation and die again. If your team is dying, it's much better to wait for your teammates to respawn rather than getting picked off one by one, as long as you still have enough time to fully regroup before the opponent really takes control of the zone. Now in Heist, your goal is to stay alive near the enemy safe for as long as possible. Obviously, you want to attack it as much as possible, and it's better to prioritize attacking the safe over attacking enemy brawlers. But even more important than attacking it is staying alive near the enemy safe, because that forces the opposing team to defend. And if they're on defense, not only can they not attack your safe, but it also gives your teammates time to join you on the offensive. Also in Heist, avoid engaging brawlers with low DPS who don't have their super, if possible. So I'm talking about brawlers like Nita or Jessie. These are very popular choices in Heist, but if you don't let them charge their super on you, they're practically useless compared to many other competitive options. In many situations, brawlers like these can be ignored on your safe as long as you don't give them the opportunity to charge their super. Now in Brawl Ball, if you have the ball and you're about to shoot while someone is defending, you'll score a lot more goals if you move in one direction and aim in the opposite direction toward the goal. Players are used to reading foot movements, and that's why aiming in the opposite direction usually works so well. Still in Brawl Ball, focus on controlling the map until you're really sure you can bring the ball to the goal. Until you're actually in a position to score, keep the ball close to you or your teammates, but don't pick it up until your team has created the right opportunity to score. And as a bonus, try not to shoot the ball near the enemies, because they might send it into a corner, making it hard for you to get it back. Another tip that might seem obvious is to always look for opportunities to score in Brawl Ball. Sometimes, players get so caught up in one-on-one duels that they don't realize there's actually a chance to score. This is especially true in competitive matches where players are used to trying to eliminate the enemies before attempting to score a goal. But sometimes, the opponents just aren't positioned well enough and you can score even if all 3 of them are still alive. So whether your teammate moves up the field for a pass or you can quickly grab the ball and score yourself, always keep your eye on the goal. Conversely, in the lower trophy ranges, the opposite happens. Players are so focused on scoring that they try to do it even before they've taken out the opposing defenders. Most of the time, it's better to eliminate the enemy team before scoring, but, just stay alert. Now, in Bounty, it's better to delay your risky moves for as long as possible. In other words, don't attack the enemies unless you're absolutely sure you can take them out. Or just wait until the end of the match. Most competitive bounty matches are very close, right up until the very end. If you start losing when the countdown begins, you probably need to get very aggressive and go for an all or nothing play. But remember that bounty matches can swing either way in less than a second. So wait for your teammates if possible, and don't overexpose yourself unless it's absolutely necessary. Many of these assassin type brawlers and bounty are only effective if you stay patient throughout the match. Tip 22. If you feel like your team is stuck in the spawn zone, it's because you're not working together. If you manage to take out just one brawler from the opposing team, it'll be much harder for them to keep you pinned down. What you need to do is have all 3 players on your team focus on a single enemy brawler until they're either eliminated or forced to retreat. For gem grab, once your team has collected 10 gems, try to maintain control of the map for as long as possible. When the countdown begins, many players will naturally want to fall back to their respawn area, since it's the safest place, but a lot can happen in 15 seconds. If you retreat to your spawn too quickly, you risk giving up control of the map to the opposing team, and your team could end up bunched up at the back, making it easier for the enemies to come back. To protect an important teammate, such as a player carrying a lot of gems or a high bounty, it's often better to play aggressively. If dying doesn't give the opposing team an advantage, it's preferable to be aggressive rather than hanging back near your teammates. Not only does this reduce the risk of your entire team being wiped out at once, but it also forces enemies to take more time to reach your respawn area. Tip 25. Learn to keep your distance. Knowing the range of each brawler is practically essential in competitive matches. By moving up and down the map at the right moment and trying to hit enemies at the very edge of your range, you can manage to hit opponents who outrange you while still staying out of their reach. You might miss more shots when trying to hit enemies at maximum range, but if it allows you to stay out of their range, it's definitely worth it. Tip 26. Prioritize eliminating enemy pets before the enemies themselves. Even if what the enemy summons can recover health, like Nita's bear or Jesse's turret, they're still very easy targets. And the faster you get rid of them, the less benefit your opponents will get from them. Elements like Mr. P's super or Stu's speed zone gadget are sometimes placed very close to the enemy spawn area. So in that case, it's not necessarily a priority to destroy them, but anything that's within a reasonable distance should be eliminated as quickly as possible. Now, here's a tip for Power League selection. When choosing brawlers, you shouldn't just try to pick those that counter the opposing team, but also those that work well with your own team's brawlers. For example, if a teammate picks a brawler who tends to destroy walls like Brock or Griff, then it's better to select a brawler who performs well on open maps, such as Spike or B. Another example, if a teammate picks Rosa on a map with lots of bushes, it's better to avoid choosing brawlers who might end up destroying her bushes. Another tip when selecting brawlers for Power League. When you're going to suggest brawlers to your teammates, it's often best to simply recommend their highest level brawler. I'm convinced that it's much more important to play brawlers you're comfortable with than to pick the best brawlers in the current meta. If a teammate has a high level brawler, there's a good chance they've played a lot with that brawler. So not only do you benefit from a power advantage, but they'll probably also play better thanks to their familiarity with that brawler. Tip 29. Try to fully heal before going back into battle. There are many situations where you could take cover and recover some health, but too often, players panic and start shooting again before they've fully healed. Having all your health always gives you the best chance to win your one-on-one duels. So, try to stay neat as much as possible. And finally, tip 30. Even if only one of your teammates dies, you need to play much more defensively than usual, unless you really can't afford to lose control of the map at the end of the game for some reason. In any game mode, being in a 2 versus 3 situation is a big disadvantage, and situations that seem harmless can quickly go wrong if you're missing a teammate. And that's it.